for me is what elicits my emotion in response to your suggestions. I try to listen really carefully, but honestly, the sarcasm, the negativity, the divisiveness, and assumptions that you discuss, that you put on the community, makes it really hard for me to hear what your good suggestion is, or how to move forward the request, which I think is a good one and that we all share. So I'm just saying, from my experience, that's what makes it really hard for me. So we've said over and over again that we don't want a 2.7% tax rate increase. And for you to keep saying, okay, let's stay at 2.7, doesn't allow our process to move forward.
Well, if you don't want a 2.7, then I would really like to hear, Allison and I have made a suggestion, and no one wants to talk about our suggestion. Please let me finish. We have made a suggestion. I made a suggestion that departments come in with a 5% plan. That was not adopted. We have made repeatedly over years that our building inspection and code enforcement is higher than other things. Nobody wants to talk about that. So I would really like to, if 2.7 is too high for you, then what are your proposals? Because I haven't heard any. And when we make proposals, we are attacked and vilified. And if you want to start making accusations about divisiveness, I think that those accusations can be spread all over this board. Okay, I do not accept that those fall on my head.
I'm sharing my reaction to what I'm hearing from you and what I'm observing from you. As far as, I think the characterization of our discussions as a board are different. So I hear that we have talked about things tonight, that we haven't said, okay, that's the magic bullet, that's the silver bullet, we're going with that. I hear we have a list, we're going back to the list, staff is going to bring back additional information. The one thing that I heard was the majority of the board is not comfortable with committing to reducing the FTE in the planning department for the reasons said tonight. That doesn't mean we didn't talk about it. And I don't want to go around and around on this because we could go all night. But I just need to say, I think that as a board, we are talking about things. Just because we don't have unanimous agreement, doesn't mean that we're not talking.
And now I'll state my opinion. My opinion has been that if you do research and you want to communicate with staff as a chair of a committee or not a chair of a committee, you are ridiculed because you're not supposed to be speaking as a member. You're supposed to be speaking about everything at a board. Then when I come to board and I want to have a discussion, I am told that I'm wasting too much time and the committee needs to go a little shorter, or the board meetings have to go shorter. I am at a point on this board where I do not know what to do next for any suggestions I may have. And in this instance, I read this book, as most of us have, and I have some thoughts. And when I make one, I get laughed at. I get told I'm speaking as one individual. I get told that on different initiatives like the job descriptions, anything that's in the packet, you're not supposed to be reading that section of it. Why would you want to be doing administration work? I can't tell you, if you think that David Amenta, Trustee Amenta is negative, I cannot tell you how much negative comments I have received from this board, to my face and behind my face, just because I do research and ask questions. And I understand that I take a lot of time, but I'm very thorough, and I'm elected to do my job, and I feel that is my job. And everything that I do falls within that realm. So I would appreciate, if we're talking about board relations and not being negative, that stops. And as a committee chair, I have a right to meet with staff, as every other committee chair does. And that came up at committee last time, that I'm one person and I am not to meet with staff on an issue before the committee. So if we're going to have these separate rules, and I can't give notes to Tyler on grammatical errors that I've found without the whole board attacking me as slipping something to him and not sharing it with everyone. I mean, that's got to stop, because there's no bad intention here on my part. My part is to represent the residents, as your part is, and you do. So I would like that to stop as well. I'd like the ridicule to stop.
I'm not sure, I don't understand a lot of what people are saying as far as some of the accusations and some of the things that they're feeling. But since we're off topic and we're all saying our piece, I'd also like, since we're asking for things to stop, I would appreciate it if some of our board members would stop going online and talking about the board and the decisions we have or have not made and the negativity. And so we do have a lot of work to do. And I'm so excited that hopefully our new village manager will help us with that. Because our board relations, our board meetings have become less professional than I've seen them in the past. And I can't wait for us to get back to a level of professionalism. But I'm also going to say, to your point, Trustee Rozek, if you feel ridiculed here and behind your back, you're probably not the only one. And I can say, specifically, I think that we owe it to each other to give each other the benefit of the doubt, and this includes when we go online in closed groups and talk about other members of this board and decisions that haven't been made, including tonight's decisions, or the lack thereof. So we're all using our own lens, our own filter, but yeah, I agree, we all have to work better together, in the room, outside of the room, in front of each other, in the community, online, in person, etc.
I'd like to just go back to the question I asked, which was, Trustee Rozek and I have made suggestions for expenditure reductions. I know we talked about the chief's vehicle. What else is on, because I haven't heard anything other than the things we.
Want to read off the list so far, Mark?
Well, let's see, we've got evaluate the budgeting of the reserve liquor license for 10,000 revenues.
That was Trustee Rozek.
Verify the Duncan fees, the projections for 17 is just as a follow-up item, why they're higher than budget. Review the police fuel cost calculations detail. I think after that comment came on, Public Director, Public Works Director explained that. I'll clerically address that. Looking at or considering whether or not to fund the purchase of the replacement of Squad 1. Make a presentation summarizing the recycling revenue projections between the bid and the budget variances. Looking at the potential energy savings that might be associated with the replacement of the HVAC system at the village center versus rehabbing the existing legacy system. Looking at whether or not to pursue capital funding for parks landscape design. Looking at adding a funding for a parking study review, comprehensive review. Looking to add money to the board for team building and training. Reporting back to the board on the life cycle of the iPads, and which may include alternative suggestions. Increasing funding for sustainability and conservation for, I didn't get the name of the committee, that's coming online. Adding resources to monitor, or adding to the narrative to monitor the procurement policies within the finance department, and realigning the treasurer's training to finance clerk. Looking at the policy consideration of how frequently to do market rate assessment revaluations versus alternating years, just doing property maintenance, and providing feedback on legal cost trends so we can make sure our budgets reflect those properly. And also looking at the inspectors' full-time positions. My notes say reducing inspectors from 2 to 1. That might not be as concise as the discussion, or as too concise for the discussion, but
That's pending.
Well, that's on the wrap-up list of things that potentially impact the budget for the body to determine.
Well, but I asked for that summary because other than the replacement of the squad car and the assessment going to buy, I always get this wrong, biannual, does that mean twice a year, or every 2 years? I always get that wrong. Assessments, you know, I mean, we haven't really, we don't have a lot there that would be an expenditure reduction. And that's my
Parks.
point.
I think the other one was the Parks Commission recommendation.
Well, we still have some general capital items, and then the broader discussion of capital funding overall for property tax levy. Again,
But I also have to say, Mark, it seems like the will of the board is not to look further at the building inspection department. So that we act as a board, so I would take that off the list.
again, this is a 3-session process, and
Yeah.
Right, well, maybe
You'll
that's
vote.
part.
Just get the list.
This is day one.
Day one. This is
technically it's state.
Right,
Well,
that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you
It's
again.
day one.
All right, it's 8:30, let's get
So other
this thing.
public safety?
Yes.
What page is that?
Page 67, please.
Thank you, Mark. The only significant change here is TRICOM budget line now includes RMS administrator costs, which were previously budgeted under capital needs. That was the only major change. Accomplishments, village met with the school district to discuss crossing guards. I don't know if you knew that or not. I wanted to put that in there as an educational moment, just to let you know that we did that, determined to continue with the current amount and current locations. We discussed a number of different options based on some feedback on that, but we're going to continue that, and I think we're going to try to meet once a year just to talk about the crossing guard issue. So,
Does that include the one at Kensington and Bartlett?
no, there's no crossing guard there. I think there was a push for one to be there, but I think,
Somebody in the, with the stop. No, really, road.
what?
Never mind. Well, the bottom line.
We talked about potentially having Lake Bluff have a volunteer. And that's why, if you see anyone there, maybe it's the school having a volunteer at that intersection.
So we didn't add a crossing guard
We did not.
in this budget for.
No, the only one that's been added over the last year is the one on Shorewood Boulevard in Oakland, but the school is paying for that one.
Okay.
Okay. The other one is continued discussions about the future of the previous police department building with North Shore Fire, which we've updated you on that, those discussions.
Okay.
So,
And they're
oh,
taking over
that's it.
the electricity, right, for now?
They will be.
Yeah.
It will be.
North Shore Fire Department, we have 2.3% in here, is that?
Yeah, at the time the budget was produced, that was the working number. You know, there will be a number of administrative updates to the board as there's still various
We heard last time.
data points that are coming in. The North Shore Fire Department approved a 2% increase, and we're just waiting for confirmation of what that calculates out to when they run that through the formula, and we will update that.
2% was what they presented last in their report.
It's not that big, the 0.3 is $6,300. That's
Yeah.
a big number.
Um, One of the policy decisions available to the board, and again, I've been talking with the interim manager, Art, about this, is that Shorewood is one of the few, if not only, community in southeastern Wisconsin who taxes for hydrant rental fees. Every other community has those fees associated with their utility costs in relationship to the size of the meter and the services that they receive. Should that be the will of the board? I know this has come up anecdotally when we have water rate increase presentations. That would be approximately a 3.8% reduction in tax levy.
But the problem is it wouldn't help on
That is true.
Tax
It's not deductible.
Tax rate?
No, the levy,
Yeah.
the levy limit.
Oh,
Because it would be applied, whether it's on, if we move it from taxes to an assessment, it still gets tapped onto these levy.
It's just strictly a tax levy issue.
Right.
And quite honestly, doing so also has implications for expenditure restraint. As we reduce our base, we do lose a smaller, much smaller percentage of state aid, but I think our preliminary calculations would be about $20,000 a year of state aid we'd lose. So, but as an option for the board to consider as a policy decision,
And for residents,
that is up there.
if they if they use deductions rather than standard deductions, it would hurt them too.
Yeah.
Are
if
you
they're-
talking about the 417,377? Is that
That's
what you're
correct.
talking
Do
about?
you have like a past memo or something that I don't remember that, and I'm sure we did talk about it, I just don't recall that.
yeah, we talked about this, Mark?
Yeah, it comes up at the finance committee when I do rate setting
Okay.
discussions.
This comes up every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't